We don't have any of the MR3 drill bits or attachments. We have drill bits, but we don't have any of the attachments. So we're not going to talk about the MR3 today. We'll talk a little bit about it, just to tell you, remember it's a, whereas the Midas Rex and the Midas Rex Classic, the heads are attached. Okay. In the MR3, except this here, we have to screw on, okay, and put onto this. So since we don't have any of the attachments, we're not going to talk about that very much today. We're going to go ahead and start out with talking about the Midas Rex Classic. The Midas Rex Classic is one that we have. We have the most amount of them here. The only problem is with the ones that we have here, this is the only oiler that we have. Okay. And this is what I was talking about the last time that we were talking about the oiler, how it flows through the nitrogen flows through the black hose, through this. This is a little drip chamber that I was talking about in the beginning. Oil is filled up inside here. There's a straw inside that'll siphon the oil out. And this is a little drip chamber here that the nurses need to calibrate to 1 drop every 30 seconds in order to make sure that the right amount of oil is proceeding through the black hose to the foot pedal and being fed up into the Midas Rex itself. Okay. This is the Midas Rex Classic. Okay. The Midas Rex Classic came in different varieties. It came in a straight version, which was standard straight. It did not move. And then you have the convertible. Okay. The convertibles are going to be a little bit more expensive than the straight, because the straight had the only ability of just doing one angle. With the convertible, you were able to go ahead and put it into a different angle and be able to use it, say, underneath a microscope, put it into maybe a better feel for the surgeon. Okay. We were talking about in the last Inservice, we were talking about the connectors, how the connectors on the Midas Rex Classic are different than that of the Midas Rex Legend. Okay. We talked about how we had to use a pin and wrench. This is the pin and wrench that is necessary to tighten the tool inside of Midas Rex Classic. Those of you who are working in the field, you may or may not see our Midas Rex Classics out there. I know there's no more Midas Rex Classics in Tucson, but you may still see one of these somewhere out there. The Midas Rex Classic, the thing about the Midas Rex Classic that you had to do were, once we're done with this, I want everybody to come up and take a look at this and do a little bit of hands-on and work with it and play with it, rather than me just sit here and talk about it. If you look inside here, you'll see a little cotton filter. Okay, that little cotton filter was a safety filter, and that filter absorbed any oil that may have expelled from the front of this. It was absorbed into that cotton filter. Okay, so if any leaked out, it wasn't going to leak out of the front of this into the collet and expel into the patient. So that just kept it dry. At the end of every case, these are supposed to be changed. Okay, with every Midas that we send, we are sending replacements so that they can change them. Okay. But we have a very limited amount, so we can't be sending them out and sending them out all the time. These are the filters. These are the air diffusers that we talked about. I told you it's basically a sponge inside a little container. This sponge is more of a sound diffuser and an exhaust diffuser that was coming off the Midas itself. When you plug this in and you step on the foot pedal, if you don't have this filter on it, you're going to feel and you're going to hear air and nitrogen expelling from this area here. That's what this was for. It emits a loud hissing noise if you don't have this on as well. Put this on, all it did was snap into place. Okay. And it absorbed all of that, any excess nitrogen that was coming out, maybe any excess oil that was coming out, and it diffused the sound as well. Okay. When you put this in here, all you do is just push it in, push the little collet down, lock it into place. Okay. You can help me out with this real quick? Okay. This collet here, okay, you take the pin, okay, there's a small hole inside there, you run the pin through, okay. Make sure that this is loose, the little nut that's sitting on top, like that. Drop it down inside. Okay. That's all you do. And then you would take the wrench, you put the wrench at a different angle to the, make sure you just tighten this down, thumb tight. You put the wrench at a different angle. Okay. Grab this two and squeeze them together, just with one hand. Okay. When the pin started to bend, you knew it was tight enough. Okay. In order to take this off, you just do the opposite. You put it onto another angle, squeeze them together, and it loosened it. Okay, to the point where you were able to take it out. Okay, so you just go ahead and put it in there. squeeze them together, take it out. Then you can go ahead and bring your attachment in. Okay. And the attachments on these had a reverse thread. Okay, so normally you'd sit there righty-tighty and tighten it, but if you would try it on these, it would just sit there and screw forever. So if you're ever in a demonstration with somebody at a convention or show, make sure that they know when they put these attachments on that it is a reverse thread. And if you look at the attachment itself, at the bottom of it, it'll say off, and it'll have an arrow, so it'll tell you in which direction to turn it to take it off. So opposite, you put it on.
What
Lock
about
it down.
the
Hand tightener?
Yeah. Yes.
what about the burrs that have really large, like acorns?
Okay, we'll talk about those right now. When you put this on here like this, yeah, you just go ahead and hand tighten it. Okay. When you go ahead and use it, you do put this on here to go ahead and finish using it. The safety mechanism on these was the key. Okay. There's a hole that's here. Okay. You would turn this hole to where the hole that we put the pin in the beginning lined up with one of these holes, and you would take this and put it through. This is how you would set it on the field. That was the safety, so that if a surgeon inadvertently stepped on the foot pedal, anything happened, that this thing wouldn't just spin, go through the drapes, hit the patient. Okay, so that was the safety mechanism. Okay, what we used to take this and wrap it around here a couple times, so it just didn't come out. And then you put it up on your field. When the surgeon was ready to use it, take it off and hand it off to the surgeon. Okay. Now for those bits that are very large, like Angelica was talking about, okay, if you were to have a large bit, a large acorn, something like this, okay, this is one for the legend. But if you had an acorn like this where you couldn't slide it over it, okay, what they wanted you to do is you would come in here. Let me take this one off and just kind of demonstrate. If you had a large one like this, you would come in, you'd put the drill bit in first, then you would slide this over it. And as you slid it down into there, okay, you would have drill bit exposed. So you'd come and you put that in there, into the little socket that you had, and you still would leave enough room before you slid this down to put your pin in,
Your wrench.
and your wrench. Tighten it down, and then slide this down and lock it into place. Okay, so now you're able to accommodate for a large head, large bit, and then be able to go ahead and use your drill. Okay, the reason for a reverse thread on these things, so that if you were, when you're working with any revolutionary tool, as it's spinning, okay, it's circumferential force as it's going around in a circle. If you were to have this where it's going in the same direction, it's going to work itself loose. Just with the bearings that are inside, as it's spinning in one direction, it would work itself loose. So they had to put it the opposite way, so that as it's spinning, it's not going to unloosen the attachment.
So the attachment is just like a burr stabilizer?
Exactly, it's a large burr guard. I mean,
The only one that really serves a purpose is the DuraGuard one, right?
Exactly, the one that does an actual function, yes. Okay. Inside of this are bearings that help keep this in track and keep it moving smoothly. Similar to like a surge air tone. A surge air tone, you have to have that medium burr guard, because if you put one of those burrs on there without the burr guard and step on it, you can see as it's spinning at the bottom, it just has a small arc. Okay, it's going around in a circle in a small revolution. But as it gets to the tip, okay, it expands, right? As it's down here small and it's just expanding, expanding, expanding. If you didn't have the burr guard, it would do that. So it stabilizes a bit to keep it in a straight pattern, so that the surgeon's has the same amount of direction of flow down here as he does down here. So you have a solid force, torsional force going from the front of the tool to the top of the tool. Okay. Any questions on that? Any questions on how to load it or unload it? Okay. At the end of the demonstration, I want everybody to come up here and put these on and take them off, please, so that you know how to do it.
So right now we can only sell one because of the oiler?
Because of the oil, we only have one left. Okay. We have several foot pedals.
They can call
They
Medtronic
came
and
with
get the
that.
oiler.
Yeah, the Medtronic still does.